Hi, this is Craig Proctor, and welcome to the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. Today, we have an awesome guest, good-looking young dude from Chicago, Nick Rendleman. Nick, welcome to the Craig Proctor podcast.
Thanks, Craig. Happy to be here.
Nick, you are a force in Chicago. You've had your license since 2012. I want to start off with, why did you get into real estate? And you've exploded your business. You now have a team.
Yep.
We're going to talk about how you were young, ambitious, excited, and how you've done an amazing job here in the real estate industry. But where did you get the itch? Why did you decide to get into real estate in the first place?
Yeah, so actually getting into real estate was an accident. And I had a few options of what to do because I was recently married. And before I was in real estate, I was actually in ministry. And our first year of marriage was kind of rough because the ministry was extremely demanding. That's where I spent all my time. We focused more on the ministry than we did our marriage. And we decided this wasn't a job that we could really do well. And so I stepped down from that position and, I studied theology. So I didn't have a lot of options.
Right.
And before I was in ministry, I actually served tables. I didn't want to go back to that. So,
Nick, this sounds like perfect training for real estate. I don't think I've ever interviewed someone that was in the ministry before that got into real estate. So it's so interesting when I interview realtors, all the different walks of life they come from. A lot of people say that they got into real estate sort of accidentally. As you probably know, I got into real estate because my father was a real estate agent. So you're in the ministry, you're looking for something new, but why real estate? What attracted you to that?
I mean, so when I was in the food industry, I love selling. You can upsell, you can sell nice bottles of wine. I'd outsell the entire wait staff in wine sales combined. And so I knew I could sell, and my aunt was a successful realtor. And so I thought, well, maybe I could, give real estate a shot and see how I do. And that was the impetus.
Now, did you know you liked it right out of the gate? Like right away, did you think this is great, or did you struggle in the beginning?
Well, I didn't make any money for the first 6 months, so I'm not sure I knew what was going on.
So were you ever questioning this decision? It's like, okay, I like it, but I'm not making any money. And why weren't you making money? What was going on at that point?
Well, here's the thing, Craig. So I knew I could be successful in it, and I wasn't going to give myself another option. And I did like doing it. I just didn't get any sales the first 6 months. And I think the reason is I didn't really know how to market. I didn't know how to bring in business. And so, and I was just green. But after I got my first sale, from there, I was just consistent. I mean, for the last 9 years, it's been consistent. So
let me interrupt for 1 minute. For all you watching or listening to this right now, there's a lot of you like Nick that love real estate. You're good at it. You've got what it takes, but you struggle with the marketing part of it. And of course, that's the key. That's the thing that you learned very early in your career, Nick, is that you can be enthusiastic, you can have a great personality, you can be good at sales, but if you don't have anyone to sell to, it's very difficult, right? So what changed it for you? You got your first sale. What happens now?
Well, every sale then becomes a opportunity for more referrals and, and that sort of thing, 5-star reviews. So you start leveraging every transaction. And then, you start to invest in at the onset, I was investing in stuff like Zillow, which again, wasn't really marketing per se, but it did get me more leads. And I just started to find out that if I was faster than other agents, and if I could provide wow service, I didn't necessarily have to be the most experienced guy, but people would go with me because I was just so quick for them. And, people like that. So that's how I got going. And it just took off.
Okay. Now, when you say it just took off, was there like a point where it just you just knew, okay, this is going to be successful beyond my own ability as a solo agent to do this? Like, what was that epiphany?
Well, I didn't like the admin work. And so at some point I was like, this is great. I can get out there, I can sell, but then I've got all this paperwork to deal with. I'd hate paperwork. And that just takes away from my time to be out there selling. So and my wife, she was looking to get out of the bank. And so she said, well, we talked about it and we said, well, how about you work part-time and part-time at the bank, so we still have, benefits and that sort of thing. So that's what we did. So Emma began working for me, and she was my admin. And that was my first hire.
So your family's all in at this point, right? Now your wife quits her job. She's working with you. And how did you split that up? So your wife did some of the admin things that you didn't want to do, you weren't good at, which allowed you now to focus like 100% on real estate. And so I assume what happens next is that's exactly what you do. You roll up your sleeves. You're now full in working with buyers and sellers, but eventually you still run at a time. Right. Yeah. Eventually your business continues to grow and you're like, okay, even though I'm not doing the admin things now, I'm working like full on buyers and sellers. And then you started to grow your team around 2014, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that's when you really understood leverage at that point. Like you kind of had the vision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so my wife went from part-time, then she went full-time, and then she started doing some marketing stuff. And then in 2014, I decided to start building a team and having people help with the overflow of my business, because I couldn't get to everybody. And so, we just started adding agents, and that was fun, because then you can recruit, you can inspire people. Hey, we have something really good going on here. Come join the team, come be a part of what's going on. And so, my first team iteration was 2014.
What's happened since? So that's your beginnings, humble beginnings, but you were always confident in yourself all the way through, which I really like, even when you were struggling. And so you bring your wife into the business. By 2014, you're kind of maxed out and you get this vision. The team is where it's at. What does your team look like today? How does that work?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a big gap there. So you want me to fill in the difference, or you want me to jump to what it looks like?
Up to you. Yeah. Okay. If you want to go gradually, show us how work from the beginning of the team to where you are now.
Yeah. So the first iteration was me as a recruiter, as somebody that could inspire people, just bringing in people like myself. So I found the people that I thought were most similar to me. And so they'd come on, they'd be excited. We would kill it. And then 6 months later, they were gone. They're like, well, Nick, we're going to start our own team. Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you for showing me this. Right.
Yeah. And that kept
that is frustrating, because you spend 6 months with them and then in 5 minutes they say, hey, Nick, you got a minute? And they're out the door.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was kind of frustrating, I'm sure.
Yeah. And it is what it is. And some of those people I knew right away. We discussed it. They even wanted to be their own team, but I didn't quite understand that. You don't always want to recruit people just like you when you're building a team. So this kind of happened. I just was getting a lot of turnover. We were still growing. In 2016, I went to a convention with my brokerage, and you were one of the keynote speakers.
What convention was that? Do you remember?
Well, that was Exits convention down in the Bahamas.
Yes, I remember that. I was the keynote speaker then, if you recall. I had just come back from my conference in Anaheim, California. I had a connection. They lost my luggage, and I had to do the keynote presentation in a golf shirt and a pair of jeans, if you recall. But we did well, and hey, that's where I met you. So that's awesome. Okay, so obviously you watch me speak, you get involved with the Craig Proctor system. Then what happens?
Well, everything changes. So before I met you, I should say this, I had been praying, and I'm a man of faith, and I had been praying that God would help me to get some business smarts, because I felt like I have the drive. I'm naturally a leader, but I don't have the savoir-faire. I don't quite have the business, aptitude yet, because I just hadn't been around it enough. So, and sales is one thing, but running a business is something else. And I just had a sense that there was more to this thing of real estate. And that I could do more. And so I just started praying. And then I believe that that was for me a divine appointment down in the Bahamas, because once I heard you speak, I thought, okay, well, this guy, he's different. He thinks different. And then when I actually went to the super conference, I was like, okay, confirmed.
Confirmed.
This is a how to build a business. This is beyond real estate. So I started to change the way our team ran. I mean, almost immediately. And of course, we lost people when we did that, because I soon learned that we need the right people on the right seats in order to make this thing work. And so, I mean, it's just been like massive growth since 2017 when I got involved in the Craig Proctor system, and I've just continued to move up within the coaching program, because every time I move up and continue to invest my time here, the investment of what we get back in Chicago is just ridiculous. And so it's really exciting for us. And now, our team is about 15 people strong, and we're in the top 100 realtors right now. And last year we did right around $1 million GCI. This year, we're targeting 2. It just
so top 100 realtors in Chicago.
Yep.
Congratulations. That's amazing. It's just incredible, the momentum that you've had. And it just feels to me like you're just beginning with this, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
It's like you've got this vision, you've had this epiphany, and you're just putting everything, like you said, the right people in the right place for expansion. But let me ask you this: what do you love about this the most now? Tell me about your role now as team leader, kind of like what you do, what you don't do.
Yeah. So I think one of the most astounding things that I observed was when you shared, when you were the #1 agent in RE/MAX, I think in the world, right? And yet you were off doing your Craig Proctor seminars and that sort of thing, and you weren't even selling, and yet you were the #1 agent in RE/MAX in the world. And
that left an impression on a lot of real estate agents, because I'd be all over the country doing these conferences, and back at home we'd be selling 500 or 600 houses a year. And so I think for a lot of realtors, it was proof that you could actually do something else while this real estate team was back home kind of working without you. So that's having those systems and that team in place enabled me to follow my passion and go out and teach and train and be on the road and still be married and have 3 kids and have a life. So I had to figure that out through my own necessity. But I think when you saw that, you're like, well, if he can do it, I can do it, right?
Well, and I just identified with it. I said, that's me. I mean, you're way ahead of the game, but I was like, I identify with many of the things that Craig is doing. That's how I want to be. I want to be like Craig. And so, that was really, once I saw that, I really got vision for it. And so then it's just been plugging in the right people in the right seats, leveraging so that I can get laser focused on the things that I'm the best at. And so, presently what I've really come to realize is my strength in the organization is more of a visionary. I'm an idea person. I can create culture, I can recruit and all that, but I don't really have time to sell anymore. And I don't really have time to run the daily operations of the business. So this allows me to really create new business opportunities, network and that sort of stuff. And that's my strong suit. And so I'm actually doing what I feel like I was created by God to do. So going back to that prayer way back when, I just see this
awesome.
whole thing unfolding for me to accomplish my heart's desire and my calling in life. So
that's really awesome.
Has been the way to get there.
And when I hear you say that, and when I hear other Craig Proctor members say that, that's what really drives me forward. I mean, that's why I do this, to be able to hear people say, I get up every day, I'm excited about this. I truly am living my heart's desire, and I'm doing my God-given gift. Like, I really feel like this is the part of the real estate business that I was meant to do. That's why I do this, right? I sold over 10,000 homes and people say, why do you still do this today, Craig? And it's because of stories like Nick Rendleman's, people like you that have massive success. I love it when people say, hey, you know what? You didn't just help my real estate business. You actually changed my life. So you get to do that for all your team members, right? Like you're changing the lives for your clients, but also for this massively huge team that you're growing. And it's almost, Nick, like you were born to do this, and you knew it before. You just had to find the way to do it here in real estate.
Right.
And I also like, when you said, hey, Craig, when I saw you, I said to myself, I want to be like you. I think it's so important that we all have a mentor, someone to look up to. Now, of course, you have to be very careful on, who the mentor is, because the mentor really matters. But we need to understand that everything that we want to do in real estate is already been done by others. That you may be a creative person and you may be a leader. And if you can step into systems and processes and really this whole vision that's been created, it's a massive shortcut to success. So, whether if you're watching this right now and, whether I'm your mentor or not, I may or may not be the guy for you, but I would recommend that you find a mentor. It's just a massive shortcut to success. And you get better when you hang around better people. Nick, maybe you heard this story. When I was a kid, I used to play tennis in the summer every day. I was never really that good at it, but playing every day, I kind of got a little better. And there were two young guys that I'd play with. One guy I could easily beat. And when I played against the guy I could easily beat, I never got better. The other guy would kick my butt. That's when I played with him, I got noticeably better. So talk about the Craig Proctor culture, because it's not just Craig Proctor. It's not just me. It's the people that you get to meet and hang out with at our events and you get to talk to on a regular basis. What kind of impact has that had?
Well, you are who you hang out with. There's a scripture that says, he who walks with the wise grows wise.
Yeah.
But a companion of fools will suffer, for it. So you gotta associate with the right people. I mean, that is one of the most important things you can do. And I think business, no matter what your industry is, you've got to be around the right people, the people that are going to spur you on, the people that are further along, the people that you can learn from and glean from. And so, Craig Proctor is really the culture that I mostly associate with and identify with. And I measure myself by the people within Craig Proctor. So it's kind of interesting. Sometimes people tell me, hey, you passed up this person in Chicago, you got it. And I'm like, but I'm not chasing those guys. Like the people that I'm chasing are, the Sarah Reynolds. I'm identifying with a different culture now because they're the best of the best. I have never been a part of any kind of network in my entire life where there's more successful business leaders. I mean, it's the number one place for leadership, for business leadership, for people with massive visions and who have a real passion to give back. I think every person I've met in Craig Proctor is a giver, and they want to help and they want to serve and they want to change lives. And Nick, the culture is tremendous.
What I hear all the time, Nick, this sounds a little bit self-serving, but it's true. What I hear all the time, and you probably heard the same thing, is Craig Proctor coaching members that come from somewhere else. They're in someone else's work for some other franchise, or they've been involved in some type of other coaching or mentoring program. They say to us that the Craig Proctor, when they join Craig Proctor, that the Craig Proctor members are the greatest sharers. I hear that over and over and over again. And they share with you, and then you've got the great pleasure, like today, to be able to share your experience with other Craig Proctor members, or those that are future Craig Proctor members, those that will be inspired by what you're saying here today. Right. And it's a wonderful culture. If you've never been to a Craig Proctor conference, when you can meet with the top real estate agents in the world. And I think I hear this a lot too. You come there for the first time and you get to know people, and how many people do you have to meet that are successfully doing the thing that you want to do until you kind of get like, well, all these people are doing it. If I have any skepticism at all or any doubt, you kind of get to know these people, right? You get to know them. You get to go out to lunch with them and out to dinner with them, and you become friends with them. Often I hear people say the best friends I have are Craig Proctor members, the people in the Craig Proctor world that I've kind of grow up with, and they nobody kind of understands your real estate business. Like in Chicago, of course, your wife works with you, and your friends and your relatives are not in real estate. They kind of don't get this, so it's kind of nice to have a community of people that think like you do, right? They're like-minded. They have sort of the same goals and ambitions, and sort of nice just to be able to connect and talk to those people on a regular basis. Hey, you have always given back your entire life, and in real estate, you have a worthy cause. You have something that you really believe in that you're able to share with your clients. And it's an incentive for them to send you referrals. Now, your clients are all going to have a smooth process. They're going to have excellent care. But explain what else happens when someone sends you a referral, and how that would work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, so we leverage our partnership and our relationship with GRIP Outreach for Youth, because we want Chicago.
Sorry, that's GRIP, GRIP Outreach for Youth. Okay. Yep. So what is that?
Well, it's a Christian organization that helps at-risk youth in Chicago. And I've never seen an organization quite like what they do. That they get involved in these kids' lives, these teenagers' lives. They do life with them. They're there with them at school. They bring them to their churches. They're there with them, hanging out. Sometimes it's a very life on life model. And it's very powerful, and it changes lives, and it gets these youth out of gangs, out of drugs, out of failing in school, and it transforms their lives. And so I just really
this is something something you totally believe in, you're passionate about.
Right.
Okay, so I want to make sure everybody gets this. So rather than Nick saying to a client or saying to a past client, or just saying to someone walking down the street, hey, do you know anybody? Because that's what we're taught to do, right? Hey, Nick, do you know anybody? You got any referrals? You know when he's thinking of buying or selling? You go to a networking party, a social thing. Real estate agents are pushing their business cards. Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody yet? The next time you see them, it's sort of awkward. Personally, I always felt it was kind of self-serving, right? Asking people, do you know anybody? Do you know anybody? Do you got anybody? Because basically it's like, I need money, right? So I felt a little bit awkward, and maybe not everybody does, but it felt kind of self-serving to me. So the other thing they teach us, some of the real estate trainers will teach us, hey, Nick, if you send me a referral, it's the biggest compliment you could ever give me. Well, that's kind of self-serving too. I mean, am I expecting my clients to be running all over the city thinking, gee, how could I compliment Craig today? Who do I know that's thinking of buying or selling? It's probably better than, hey, do you know anybody? But what we're doing here with our worthy cause referral marketing is so huge, because I want everyone to think about this. Instead of saying, do you know anybody? Instead of saying, hey, if you give me a referral, I'll give you $100, or I'll give you a bottle of wine, or I'll take you out to dinner. Do you see what Nick is doing? Nick says, if you know anyone that's thinking of buying or selling, and you refer them to me, I am going to donate to the GRIP Outreach program for youth. Now, is it a percentage of your commission, or is it a flat fee? How does that work?
Yeah, we just take it basically from our net profit, and look at it quarterly. So as we continue to partner with more organizations and figure out more ways of giving back, we'll just continue to evolve that program. But like what you said is really critical. Like, if I just ask you for a referral, then, okay, so it's just about me wanting business. But if people can understand that we have a mission that supersedes just our financial gain, like
Yeah.
our mission is to elevate lives through real estate. And we chose that very strategically, because we really want to elevate the lives of the people around us. And the at-risk youth in Chicago is one of those opportunities that we have to elevate. And so, yeah, that's really our heart. That's the culture we're creating.
Okay, so give me your referral offer. Let me hear it. Okay, so I'm maybe you just listed my house, right? So you just listed my house, and rather than you just listing the house and running up the door and going to the next listing presentation, you've got extra documentation about your worthy cause. So I love you the most, right? I've just listed my house. I've trusted my biggest asset in my life with you. So I've signed the listing agreement. Show me how this works now.
Craig, hey, before we leave today, I just want to let you know, we're actually partnered with GRIP Outreach for Youth. They are a non-for-profit organization that helps Chicago's at-risk youth. And they do an incredible job, Craig, at helping youth get out of gangs, get out of violence, get out of drugs. And they make these guys, they transform lives and make them productive in society. And it's an incredible thing. And here, I want to show you this video. I could play a quick video, or I can give you examples of stories, et cetera, et cetera. So Craig, I want you to know that, a portion of our profit from people, awesome clients like yourself, is going to help this non-for-profit, this incredible organization, and it's going to change lives. And I just want to let you know, you are a part of that now. And we take this very seriously. So just want to let you know you are giving back by giving us your business today.
That's so awesome. How many of you agree that's way better than Nick getting the listing agreement signed and saying to the seller, "Hey, do you know anybody? What about your brother-in-law? Your friends, your relatives, people at work?" The biggest compliment you could give me is if you could just run around and try to find me a business. So the reason this works, and the reason we recommend that all of you have worthy cause referral marketing, is because for all of you, there's something in your life that's really important to you, something that you really believe in, something that you can get passionate about. So for Nick, it's Chicago's youth. Okay. For you, I don't know what's happened in your life, but you do, right? It might be somebody in your family might be touched by cancer, diabetes. It may be homeless people. We have Nick, as you know, we've got some military guys in the Craig Proctor program, and their worthy cause is wounded warriors.
Yeah.
So it could be your local animal shelter. I want everyone to think right now, what would be your worthy cause? What is something that's really important to you that you'd have no problem when you're meeting with people, whether it be a buyer, a seller, a past client, or even a stranger, saying, "Hey, if you know anybody that's thinking of buying or selling, I would donate a portion of my income to fill in the blank, your worthy cause." The reason it works, it's something you feel good about. Okay. The reason, just asking for referrals when it sounds self-serving, it doesn't work because as well, number one, you don't want to do it because it feels uncomfortable and it feels too self-serving. So great job on that, Nick. That's awesome. You're a great implementer, and that's why you've had so much success. Like, you get an idea and you jump on it and you implement it. Have you always been that way?
Yeah, I live and breathe, my worldview is results. So it's hard for me to sit on a concept or idea or watch other people do it. I've just never been that type of person to sit around and watch others do great things on the sidelines. I want to be doing great things, and I want those around me to be doing great things, and I want to surround myself with greatness. So the only way that's ever going to happen is by taking action, and that's like something you said earlier is, sometimes people are, they're incredulous. Does this really work? Is this really going to help my business, et cetera, when they're looking for a mentor or a program or whatever. But the truth is, you just have to take a step of faith. If you just always wait for the perfect timing and you feel 100% and you don't have any butterflies in your stomach, most of the great things that you and I are going to do in life are going to have, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel nervous. We're going to feel the butterflies. We just have to take that step. So yeah, that's always been kind of my personality. and no exception here with Craig Proctor.
I love your passion, Nick. It's really contagious. Hey, I think I read a quote recently. It was about skeptics, and it was something like, have you ever met a rich skeptic, or have you ever met a skeptical? Have you ever met a successful skeptic? And I started to think about it, and I thought, no, I really haven't. Most people that are successful, they take chances. You said your goals are sometimes a little bit scary, and I think that's important. I think your goals have to be big enough to both excite you and kind of scare you at the same time. So if you're watching, you're listening to this right now, and you kind of feel that way, it probably tells you that you're on the right track. Now, if I'm in Chicago and I'd like to join a great real estate team, I've watched this, I'm inspired by you, and I'm thinking, I'd like to talk to Nick Rendleman. How can people reach you? What's the best way to connect with you?
Developingrealtors.com is the best place to go. Developingrealtors.com.
I love the domain, developingrealtors.com.
Yeah. So people can just go there and apply for our team. We are always hiring because we keep growing. We just keep growing and getting bigger. So we constantly are expanding the team. And, our niche is really developing realtors, helping people be successful. I got to give a shout out, Craig, to my amazing team. There's no way I would be anywhere close to where I am today if it wasn't for my team. 100%. And that, Craig, that's what you've taught. And that's what you've done all these years. You've succeeded through a team as well. So there's no shame in that. And really giving credit where credit is due. And it's been because of my awesome team, the Craig Proctor system, that we've gotten where we've gotten. So yeah, if you're interested and you want to learn more about my team and get involved, developingrealtors.com.
Thank you so much for this, Nick. Amazing interview. If you folks want to contact me, you can get a free breakthrough call at proctorcall.com. My name, proctorcall.com. We'll do a breakthrough call. Much like we did with Nick, we'll show you kind of the vision. We ask you a bunch of questions about where you are right now in your business and where it is you want to go. And Nick, it's kind of fascinating when we have that conversation with people because, people know where they are. Some people really don't know where it is they want to go. And then other people do. Other people can really clearly articulate, where they are and where it is they want to go. And of course, our natural question is, well, why aren't you doing it then? And there's an obstacle, right? There's usually an obstacle. And I want everyone to think about that. What if I could help you remove that obstacle between where you are right now and where it is you want to go? What would your life look like? A lot of people, they think, well, what would my business look like? Well, that is one question. And if you were to go from 25 transactions to 50 transactions, because that's the way a lot of realtors would answer that. Well, I want to go from 25 to 50. But then we go a little deeper, right? We'd be asking you, well, why is that important? Why is 50 important? I was talking to a lady recently, Nick, and she was doing 25, said, what would you like to do? If we could, she told me what her barrier was and she'd like to get to 50 and why she couldn't get to 50. And we talked about how to get around that obstacle. And I started asking her questions. What would your life look like? Well, she was talking transactional. Well, if I got to 50, I'd make twice as much money. Yeah, but why is 50 important? When I asked you, where you wanted to go, you immediately said 50. What's significant? What's important about 50? This is where she opened up and she said, well, if I could get to 50, my husband could retire, he could come and work with me, and we could travel and we could see our kids. That's your heart's desire, right? Every one of us has a heart's desire. There's something that's really, really important to you. And just like Nick Rendleman, the real estate business can help you. It can be your tool to help you get more life. That's the way we want to look at our real estate business. And right now, if you're struggling in your business, if your business is getting in the way of your life, if your real estate business is maybe not a business, it's just a job and it's shutting out all the light in your life, I want you to look at Nick. He's passionate. He's excited. He gets to get up every day and do what he loves, and he gets to help other people. And that's what we wish for everyone. Nick's the kind of guy, just like all the other Craig Proctor members, if you ask them, they'll tell you exactly what they're doing. They're enthusiastic about it. So I hope you've enjoyed our interview today. Nick, I enjoyed this so much. all the best in the rest of this year. I know you're going to have your best year ever. And thank you so much for being a Craig Proctor member and doing an awesome interview here today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Craig. It's been awesome being with you today.
Thank you. This is the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show.